Wow. I think I'm just caught. I normally don't look at the camera while this is going on, but I think I have a worse haircut than Chase going on. So I got it yesterday afternoon. And yeah, it's going to take a few days to make that look good. Shit. Fuck. All right. October 15th, KMS Wrap Up Show. Sorry. Little throat tickle there. Little throat tickle. Need a little water. So today's show I thought it was a good one. It was a fun one for a Friday. It started out a little hot there. Jesus, a little fight about the 5-hour early before podcast. But, listen, if you don't like the answer, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm in here. I'm accumulating audio. We're doing content for the show. I said what I said. We're out of here moderately early. Sometimes the afternoons can get crazy, which normal life, I would like to be cutting up audio, recording audio, whatever. But that's harder to do when it's afternoons and home. So I take that up in the morning. What do you want me to do? That's the answer. I've said that last week, got a little defensive about it because I felt like he was getting cunty about it. That's all. Wasn't a big deal. It's just, it was what it was. So I guess that's how actually, that's not even how we started. How we started was, take 2, right? Yeah. I like that he said, chew on the deleted audio. That was nothing. He came in hot because, Chris and I were having a little conversation. And just a little chatty before the show. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. And he didn't like that. But then he asked what we were talking about. We told him. And then we talked about it for like 45 seconds. And it bored the shit out of him. So we started again. It was nothing. It was nothing exciting. So don't even worry about it. But you can chew on whatever topic you think Chris and I focus on in life. So Chris was in today. So obviously we had a game. You got to do a game with Chris. So his game was good today. It was expansion teams, MLB expansion teams by year, I believe, right? And I could never remember. I think the only thing I brought to the table, he gave a hint about it, was the Montreal Expos. But what was the one that he said, though? I was shocked by that. I never knew. Oh, Seattle had a team before the Mariners, but I forget who he said then they move. I forget where they moved, but that was wild. I'm shocked that Kirk knew some of those. It was like the Pilots, Seattle Pilots. Was that what it was? I feel like it was something to do with airplanes or something. Yeah, whatever. Either way, yeah, I didn't know it. I didn't know any of them. The other game we played was Billboard Charts Guy was there. Should I get music for Billboard Charts Guy too? I feel like it needs a little something there. So maybe I'll spew on that, and Kirk can shit on it on next time he calls in. But Billboard Charts Guy, I liked it. He brought like a question for Kirk kind of, and then a question for Chris. And then obviously if Chris didn't get it, I had to save the day. That's what team guys do. Spin doctors. Wasn't a big deal. What did he say? Little Miss can't be wrong. I said, Two Princes. That's right. So, but I like that game. Involved the 90s. Maybe I'll get it. So the big topics today was calling out Coley Mick for his Kyrie Irving blog post. Kirk said that that Coley Mick was his least favorite Barstool editor, which I think as the segment went on, the tone not necessarily changed in Coley's favor per se, but you could definitely tell that I think K. Marco still ranks number 1. I don't think we have to worry there for all the Minute fans out there who are thinking that Kirk lost his fucking marbles for a second or whatever I would say, lost his brain. Definitely doesn't compare to K. Marco in that sense. But basically the Kyrie Irving thing, and we talked about it for a good, actually, 30 minutes or so. I just, my take on the whole thing is just like, I don't care what Kyrie's attempted purpose is because he's such an asshole. And that's just my opinion. You can love the guy or not. I don't know. I don't give a shit. But I just don't think his intentions are ever good. So I'm just always going to side on the, I'm just always going to be on the side that he's just in it for himself and he's trying to do something for publicity. I don't know why. I mean, he is forfeiting money. I don't have an excuse as to like why he's doing that, like what his goal in doing it is. But his whole like voice of the voiceless thing, like fuck that. I don't know. He's in it for himself, in my opinion. And I just didn't think like his Instagram live, that's another example of in it for himself, but I just didn't think he like gave a case necessarily of like why he's doing what he's doing. If he just said like, oh, I asked for an exemption, they said I'd have one and it still didn't matter. So fuck them. I'm going to stand up for what I believe in and not getting vaccinated. Totally different conversation. He's just like all over the place, wishy-washy, typical Kyrie. And so I don't know, just kind of think he's an asshole. That's my take on it. So other stuff that came up on the show, Carabas wanted to have a better relationship with John Henry. I mean, he's a Red Sox guy. What are you gonna? I mean, I guess that's to be expected. I don't know why, but he was right. Kirk agreed with him. He'd love to have John Henry on. I think that interview would get a little contentious. I would think. I do remember we brought up just like super briefly about the time John Henry just randomly was listening to, it was Felger and Maz, right? And just like showed up at the studio. That was fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal radio. He's an absolute bore to listen to, but phenomenal radio, to say the least. Yeah, not too much to say about the Carabas thing. It was just like, he just wants to have a better relationship with him. He was shocked he doesn't know the Section 10 podcast stuff. I don't know why he would. It seems to me like he's He's got to be an NPR guy, if I'm going to guess. John Henry. He runs he owns the Boston Globe of all fucking places. Maybe he listens to Love Letters by the Meredith Goldstein of Boston Globe. So who knows? We talked a little bit too about the video I posted on Twitter or with the sound, which is Julie DeCaro saying that people on social media are backing John Gruden. Just absolute nonsense that she's making up out of fucking thin air. Ridiculous. If people are backing him, which is the wrong way to put this, they're describing two different scenarios. One is that it is kind of fucked up that 10-year-old emails get released. The other is what nobody's defending, which is like racism, homophobic statements, all that stuff like that. Nobody's defending that. So just stop making up the lies. It's just ridiculous. John Gruden got fucked because of an investigation that was going on. Now, granted, he put it in writing. So you're a fucking idiot. And at the end of the day, that was his opinions too then. And, either way, that side of it is fucked up. I know he's defending the words that he used, which was the context that she was kind of giving in this sound. So please spare me. Typical Julie DeCaro. Just rubbish out of her. All right. What else came up? We didn't really get into it too much. It's not that big of a deal either, but Sanjay Gupta going on Joe Rogan, which Kirk's take was just like, give him credit for going on. I don't really give him credit. He's a media fucking whore. I remember watching him on Oprah when I was like, I don't know, probably even wasn't that long, but he's like the guy who Oprah went to on satellite in Haiti, saving the day, the doctor saving the day. He wasn't as eccentric as a Dr. Oz or anything like that, but he was just like, I don't know, it was like cool, calm, collected, gave off this air of confidence. I've never seen a human being sitting in a chair doing an interview in a setting that he knows better than most because he does so many of the media hits and interviews or whatever. He was fucking neutered before the mics turn on. He sounded scared and like beyond nervous. It was ridiculous. I was listening to it. It reminded me of like when I got busted in high school and the cops drove me home and I had to like explain myself to my dad. Like that's how it sounded. He just sounded scared shitless. And Rogan, who I'm not a fan of Rogan. I like him in like micro clips on Twitter. I like a lot of what he says. I don't consume his podcast because it's 3 hours. It's like Jerry's Take Two. Jerry used to say, I don't listen to anything that says 3 hours in the podcast name. I would never do that, but here are my respects, and I brought it up on the show today. I like that he wanted to talk to Sanjay Gupta for one thing specifically, and it wasn't just that, like, it wasn't COVID or the vaccine, as landscapers get to work next to me here. It wasn't COVID or the vaccine. It was, I want to talk to Sanjay Gupta because of one specific thing that you did that I had a lot of respect for. You said something and then went back on it, and I respect that because a lot of people in the medical community don't do those things, right? Like they just say what either, they stick to their guns or whatever. It was medical marijuana, but I like that he like went micro like that. Like you earned my respect and I will talk to you about anything you want in life versus the flip side, which is Sanjay Gupta, who spews all this shit on CNN and just wants to preach that gospel to as many new people as possible. So you might disagree that that's like what Sanjay Gupta is trying to do. I don't know. That's the impression that he came off to me like. And so I enjoyed what I heard about it, what I heard from it, which was, I don't know, I want to say almost 90 minutes of that long conversation, but I enjoyed it. So I will give him credit for going on, but he was just like, he was a neutered little fucking scared wimp, to be honest with you, which is a complete opposite of what I'm fucking used to hearing him talk like. So I'm trying to think of if there's anything else big that came up. Well, we lost Sonic, but we're adding in Papagenos. What was my wording that Kirk gave me shit for? Oh, playful. I thought, listen, we're talking to, here, let's get into business colony mind for a second, or PR colony mind. We're talking to publicists. All right. You got to speak the way a publicist wants to be spoken to. All right. Maybe I wouldn't use that language typically, but I'm trying to get a guest here. All right. So I use the word playful. We had a playful conversation about the brand with a simple question, and we want an answer to it. So she declined our offer, which is ridiculous. Because why are you sending out press releases to the media to talk about things, but then you don't want to talk about things when the media wants to talk about it? They're not even hard questions. Jesus, it's a fucking joke. So we'll just move on from that. And Kirk wants to move into or onto whatever. I was trying to like think of the way to word that segue there. But he wants to go to Papagenos, which is fine by me. He's way more passionate about Papagenos than I ever was in my life, but it was absolutely like go-to in my life. There was a feeling you got when you walked into a Papagenos. There was a look, there was a smell, there was a feel, there was a reliability. When you went to one and the pizza didn't come out the way you typically are used to it coming out, it was like the end of the fucking world. That's how consistent they were. So I'm all for helping. I don't even know, what does that mean? I don't even know, or maybe I just missed everything. Probably I didn't pick up. But like, I don't know if they're thriving, but they're still around. Maybe a lot are closing that I haven't paid attention to, or what. Either way, yeah, you definitely need to go back to the nostalgia, which is what Kirk was alluding to. Which, get it back to the, I think they had like one video game, and then they had, what do you call the thing with like the arm where you're trying to get the stuffed animals? They had like 1-in-1. And usually, like the ones I would go to didn't have the room to put them back to back. Typically, it'd be like one here or one there or whatever. So I don't know, but let's that's the new effort. Let's save Papagino's. So I love it. So we'll make those calls and see if we can get them on. Anything else that came up that was interesting? We talked. Did I already do the Carabas thing? I don't know. Either way, not a lot of other background information to give. I will be contacting, because Kirk agreed, early November on a Friday. I'll reach out to all the 4 winners of the latest contest that Kirk did. And then Golden Ticket with Dale, you got my DMs. I know you're sharing them, so it's fine. Just get back to me. Let's get it done. Let's get the live show. Let's get, and I want to make sure too, because I think you actually paid for a live event or two. So I just want to make sure that you're taken care of there, Dale. So get back to me. All right. That's it. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Weather looks to be nice, I think. So enjoy yourselves. We will be back on Monday. Schedule next week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yes. See you Monday.